Welcome back to another week, another Saturday, another hour that you have chose to spend with me here on the Master Relationship Mechanics Show. I am Courtney Lee Smith, your grief strategist and loss coach, helping you from what it could have been, should have been, to what it will be. We are here on the Master Relationship Mechanics Show, getting to our best relationship. So we're going to run on every week. We're running on to being better and better and better, getting better in our relationships. And today, as I promised you this whole month, we were going to be talking about music. We're going to be talking about our gifts and how we are using our gifts truly in love, doing what God says we're supposed to do with our gifts, not hoarding them. So I have a fabulous guest on today, Dr. Kevin Khao Cates. So you all, we are going to be blessed by the information that he provides to us and how to use our gifts. And one of his quotes and something that he stands by, it really just resonated with my heart. It says, do not just be successful, but be significant. But it's not saying to us, don't be successful now. It says, but don't just be successful, because God has for us an abundant life. But he wants us to also be significant in that abundant life. And that stirred up in me to find the scripture that talks about the significance that God wants us to have. So you all roll with me in the word that's going to undergird and be the foundation of our message today. Roll with me to Isaiah 55:13. And it says, and we're going from the English Standard Version because I want it to be very simple for everybody today. Instead of the thorn shall come up the cypress. Instead of the briar shall come up the myrtle. And it shall make a name for the Lord, an everlasting sign that shall not be cut off. So what you do to make a name for the Lord will be an everlasting sign. But realize that success comes because he gives you cypress and he gives you myrtle. That means instead of thorns and briar, he gives you something that is producing success in your life. So that is how we make a. And I see my guest is going out with a little technical difficulty. So that's what happens when we are doing. So I'm going to continue on about his accolades and awards. They are definitely a part of his success. And we're going to talk about his success, which created his significance in the world and what he's doing with for others in this gifting. So we're going to be talking to Dr. Kevin Khao, Grammy-nominated producer. So that's why I say it's success. He's going to take us through the journey of how he became and connected to music. He's going to take us to his Grammy nomination and all his accolades that he got over the last years. He's going to take us to some new beginnings, some new journeys, and the things of how we can be blessed when we allow our gifts to pivot and allow our gifts to give back to others. So let us take a few moments while our guest gets his technology together. You know, I'm not gonna sing a song or do anything like that. That would be hard on you all right now. But I do want to take an opportunity to repeat where we came from so you all know what the basis of today is. When we're making a joyful noise, when we're out there doing our gifts and working for the Lord, make sure you go to Isaiah 55:13, because God will give you success if you choose to also be significant in him and make his name great. Make a name for the Lord, not make a name for yourself. And that is very important on this journey. What are you using your gifts to do? Is it just to glorify yourself? So here is our guest popping back in right on time. Right on time, y'all. All right, Dr. Kevin Gates.
Hello.
Gates. I'm going to say Gates, my Lord. Glad to have you back. Got your technology all wind in, and we know right now with the internet service, it might do a little blinking on us. But we are so glad to have you. And I think you're still blinking in and off. Can you hear me?
All right. I'm sitting here. Can't hardly hear you. For some reason I'm having some difficulties on the sound.
On the audio side.
Can you guys hear me? No.
I can hear you wonderfully.
Oh, you can hear me?
I can hear you, but you're saying you can't hear me.
I can't hear you.
Okay, let me see what my mic doing. And let's see. Can you hear me now?
That's
Well, I'll
weird.
be.
I have my volume up. Mic is on. Camera mic. Yeah, I don't know why. That's weird. Should I should I try to just come off and come right back on maybe?
Let's try that one more time.
Mm, let's see here.
It's amazing when we go in behind the scenes on the studio, everything just works fine.
Um, let's see. That is strange. Let me see. Mm,
So y'all just give us a moment behind the scenes. Let's see what's going on here. Let's see. I apologize to you all who are watching. Can you hear me now?
I don't know what is
Hear me
going
now?
on.
No, you still can't hear me?
I don't know. That is so strange to me. Yeah, I do not hear you.
I can hear
That is
you.
that's the weirdest thing. I can
Okay. You know
I
what
can
we're gonna
try a
do?
different.
I'm a,
If
I'm
it's
a,
easier, I
we
can
gonna
do my
try something else.
laptop.
We gonna
Huh?
leave you here on camera. I'm gonna put you on the phone to ask you the questions so the audience can
Okay.
still hear you right here on the screen. So we gonna work what we got today. So just hold on a second.
All
Oh, well,
right.
that's right.
So
You
let
on the
me
phone
try
though.
to.
So that
I'm
means
gonna try to grab my laptop real quick. Hold on 1 second. I got an idea. Let me see.
all
Throw the
right. Because I was
wireless away.
gonna say if you're on your
Um.
phone, that means I can't call you.
Hold up. Let me grab this laptop. Hold on.
All right, y'all. This is just one of these days because this is gonna bless some people. We have been talking to people. I know it seems like we're just talking to people in the music industry, but it is talking about blessing people with your gift. So whatever your gift is, whether it's in the music industry, whatever it is, week one we talk about doing it in love. Week two we're talking about taking it out of the box and being able to do different things that God says. Today we're talking about using your gift to make a name for the Lord. That means using it in service, using it in gifting. Yes, be successful, but always make significance. So we're having a little sound difficulties with our guests. We're bouncing back and forth in and out. If you all are just jumping in, make sure you're Isaiah 55:13. And we are live, so this is no editing it out, the bloopers. So the bloopers are what you see. This is a part of just the real life happening when you do live versus doing a recording and being able to go back and clip and paste and edit in. So this is the real live stream media world that is happening right before your eyes. So this is an opportunity for you all to have questions about anything else that you would like to talk about or any guests that you would like to have while our guest is getting their top technology in order. So I want to say hello to everybody that's here and please pardon our technological difficulties this morning, but I am always so glad and happy for you all to be here with us on another Saturday. I guess I'll make announcements right here at this point. So while we're here, realize next Thursday, me and my husband are doing a special webinar. It will be live on all of our platforms where we were talking about healing through the holidays. So if you know somebody who is going through grief or loss right now, right now. We don't want the holidays to put them in a place of going backwards. We want the holidays to keep them going in a forward progressive motion, because a lot of times the holidays cause you to be depressed. A lot of times the holidays will cause you to go into a dark place, and we don't want you to cancel your holidays either. So join us next Thursday at 8. All right, can you hear me now?
I can hear you. I can hear you. Awesome.
All right, praise God. See, sometimes I said the enemy just want to step in when greatness is getting ready to happen.
Amen.
Greatness is going to happen. All right, so as I told you all about his accolades and various awards, and that's his success, but we're going to talk about his significance. So we're going to go on a journey with Dr. Cates about how he's went from to success through significance. And I know when we're talking about these gifts that God has given you, when did you know that music was part of your DNA and your gifting?
You know, Courtney, it was early. Like, it was probably when I was a young kid, because I used to make my GI Joes do concerts, and
Oh my goodness.
just I knew music was the thing. But you know, it was probably third, fourth grade was when I knew, okay, this is what I got to do with my life. You know.
Okay, so what was your first piece that you produced? And I don't mean as an executive producer, Grammy Award. Did you produce something in high school, middle school? What
Right.
was the first thing that you produced and realized, hey, I'm good at this?
Third grade.
Oh my.
My teacher, this is my favorite teacher to this day, Miss Wilder. She actually saw that I was different from the other kids and was like my attention span. So she took the time and asked me what was I passionate about, and I told her I wanted to rap. So she said, if you do good in school and you pass your test, I'll let you do a rap in front of the entire class on Friday. So that was my incentive. I would write my little raps, and I would started acing, made all A's in the class just to write a rap for that Friday to perform. So I think that started it for me, on just that level of saying, okay, this is cool. I can do this. From there it was just a fire that kept going.
I believe there is something that is very special when people say, I noticed something different in you, and they don't make it a deficiency. I think a lot of times when we see different in people, we automatically say, oh, they're behind or they're slow, instead of, like you saying, finding out what their passion is.
Right.
Like I said previously in a previous show, I have a younger son, and everybody said he was going to be behind, he was going to be in remedial, because he just didn't do things the other way other people did.
Right.
He didn't particularly care for reading, but he loved cars. I mean, he had a passion for cars. So I got him a car. In order to find out about the car I got him, he had to read a book. So as the thing is, if you want the car, you got to read the book about the car. So it was a win-win, kind of, like you said, to identify what that passion is. And we need more teachers like that who don't send home and put kids on Ritalin, put kids on drugs. They have to see how they can pull out whatever is different. So I thank God for that teacher too, because you have created some phenomenal things since the third grade. So I'm going to let you tell us about your music producer journey. Some of the things that you have produced since the third grade.
Oh man, well, like I said, I started born in Los Angeles, raised in Montgomery, Alabama. Knew music was going to be the thing for me. Didn't know how it was going to happen, but at an early age, I realized if I was going to make it in music, no matter how good I thought I was, I would need to learn how to serve, to figure out a way to be there for whatever the person may have needed that could help me out one day. So that's how it started. I ended up, moving from Alabama after doing as much as I could musically, in my city. And then as I had the #1 song on the radio locally and all these other things, it got to a point to where it was like, okay, what's next? How do I break this ground? And I started hearing people use me as an example of a failure, which kind of hurt my feelings tremendously, where people would be like, if you're going to do me, telling their kids, if you keep on with that music, you're going to be like Khao, running around chasing a dream, doing that with your life. And I was like, okay, I'm going to believe these people. I have to move on. So I was always an entrepreneur. And in high school, I was working at the radio station. I was running a nightclub before I was old enough to be in one. I was doing all these things, just making sure that when the right opportunity came, I would be prepared. So that opportunity actually came from me actually serving. At the radio station, I was the guy that would go in and listen to the artists that were independent, that didn't have a shot, and see how I could help them. And and then I met a guy who was working with an artist, and I played his records and kept him a job at his label he was working at. And then years passed, and I went on moving to Atlanta to pursue my dream, and ended up going through, the ups and downs of being homeless, living in my truck, and things like that. And then, as I did get my first break, it was as a ghost producer. So I was producing records for another producer, and he would get the credit for it. So it was one of those things. And when I ended up, getting one of my first big breaks, it actually came from the very guy that I helped out years ago when I was working at the radio station. So because I served, and this guy was actually T.I.'s manager, and he was also the partner with T.I. on the label. So I had another guy made up some music for it that wanted to get T.I. on the song. So I went and negotiated the deal, and Lord and behold, I was right back in front of the guy that I helped out years ago. And, he told me how, he was like, hey, we just got, left the record label, and we got to go independent. And he was like, I remember you would always say stuff about independent records. And he was like, I don't know how to do it. I'm from New York. We just go in and get record deals. So I became his right hand man, and the rest took off from, the T.I. records and everything else. But I grew on to produce over, 25 million records. I produced, I'm Grammy nominated. I produced T.I.'s Why You Want to Go and Do That. I've worked with Jay-Z, Rick Ross, Ludacris, Snoop Dogg, Nicki Minaj, Lil Wayne, Ruben Studdard. Man, so many people on the music side. I score films. I just been blessed to, achieve a lot of things musically.
It was three things that really stuck out when you were talking about. Number one is serve. You had to figure out how you could serve. That's for everybody on here. If your gift is not serving somebody but yourself, that means you're never going to reap anything from it. Because the point is, you are already getting your benefit from your gift up front. I mean, God says, I've already blessed you, so don't expect anything else in return from it. And secondly, the people who you were around saw you as a failure.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very interesting because you had broke the ceiling there, but God said it's time to move someplace where you can grow. A lot of us are stuck in our hometowns. Most of us just stuck in our minds, really. We can grow where we are, but we're not willing to move outside of our minds and grow and develop. So that's the second thing. We got to learn how to serve. We got to learn how to grow, move, and develop. And then the third thing that you said, sometimes we got to not let our name be known. We don't need all the claim to fame. Sharpening up our tools. I had never heard of a ghost producer in my life. You just said that. But the opportunity is probably to ghost gift everything in your life. There are probably every entity in life you can ghost something. You don't have to put your name on everything. It is sharpening and defining your tools and growing you. Because after you had done that and realized, hey, I'm good at this, that person gives you a break. Then all the way back in full circle, it opened up some doors from you because you were willing to serve, you were willing to move, and you were willing to not build your own name at the same time. So that right there, that's a blessing for somebody who's listening in. You need to be able to navigate through all of those steps in order to first achieve some type of success. That's why your success is blocked right now, because you're not willing to serve somebody else. You're not willing to give up your own name, and you're not willing to move. So 3 steps. So you blessed. So I'm talking about movement today. This is always about transformation and getting to a better relationship, to unblock some people in their lives, to get to first success, because you can't get to significant until you get to successful. And if you all heard Dr. Kate Stokes, because you can't do anything significant in anybody's life unless you got to a place to actually give to others.
Right.
So I was throughout your bio, it was getting me interested, and it had all these like crescendos, and then when you talk about stuff, these highlights we were raising up to. So in 2008, God put you on a new journey. And I'm wondering, what was the thing that shifted you? I know it's a new beginning because it was 2008. It had 8 in it, so it was ordained by God. What produced that shift in your life?
My dad passed away, and after my dad passed away, he would always tell me, "Don't just be successful, be significant." And I started really clinging on to, okay, how do I become significant now? And things that were exciting to me wasn't as exciting anymore, like going to the Grammys. And I remember one year I went to the Grammys and I was sitting next to Prince and Kenny Chesney, and in any other thing, I would have been the greatest thing ever. But I'm sitting here like, okay, this is the 3rd or 4th Grammy Award show I've been to. We're all going to do a Clive Davis party afterwards. Everyone's going to talk about let's do lunch and do business, and we never call each other. And it felt like repeating the 12th grade over and over again and going. And at some point, it's like, okay, this is cool, but what's next for me, God? And I was praying about it, and next thing you know, there was an award show I was being honored at. And I didn't even want to go to this award show because it wasn't a bigger one, but it was something for my hometown. And I was like, okay, I'll do it. But I had to drive from Atlanta to Alabama, and it was raining. So I did it anyway, me and my wife and my son at the time. And then also the president of the SCLC, Dr. Charles Steele, came to that event. And he was in Atlanta as well. And in the SCLC, some of the people in the office didn't want him to come because it was a hip hop event. But he drove in the rain and came. So he saw my speech and saw me walk up with my wife and my son, and his wife was like, I like that young man. And then when I saw Dr. Steele speak, and he got in front of all of us and said, on behalf of himself, Dr. King's organization, and his generation, he apologized for not passing the torch. And said there was a lot we can learn from each other. And at that moment, it made me realize that my generation has been so busy chasing money that we've been repeating that process. And it hit me like, wow, this is going to be my road to significance. And at that point, once God showed me that, then Bridge the Gap came to me in a dream. And I woke up and I couldn't stop writing. I called my best friend. I had my wife come in. I'm like, I'm supposed to write a book. I'm like, I'm supposed to create a manual that will help these youth that don't have a positive role model or positive parents and, playing the role of, the parent role should be at the time, or, just people being misguided. I was like, they need a manual to where if they don't have that, they could still get themselves in position and get the tools they need to persevere through their problems. So at that point, I produced 12 songs. Well, I produced 12 chapters, and God brought it to me: patience, self-determination, self-love, watching the company you keep, how to deal with losing loved ones, not making excuses in life, anger, controlling your anger. Before I knew it, though, I had 12 topics, and I produced songs for each topic. And then it was broken down as, okay, there's an overview segment in each chapter that explains why this characteristic trait is important for the child to have in their life. And then there's a solution segment that gives them the blueprint of how to apply that characteristic trait amongst whatever they're dealing with in life. And then there's short stories or real testimonials that kids have either seen or went through, but it gravitates them and it's real. Some in bad, some in good, but it gives them something to, hold on to. And so that's the structure. I did it. I was obedient. I took a leap in the height of my music career. And I had to tell everybody I can't produce right now. I got to go pursue this. And it was scary because I didn't know where the money was going to come in at. And I was walking away from millions of dollars, but I was being obedient. And the enemy didn't make it easy because upon walking away, I called myself trying to build a nest egg. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna sell. I don't need this extra vehicle. Let's get out of this penthouse downtown. We're gonna get a house. And I'm trying to scale down and had saved up some money. And Lord and behold, in 2008 was also when the recession hit, the crash hit. So I was buying the house and they literally, it was illegal what they did. They took my loan from a 2% loan to a 20% loan at the closing table.
Oh, Jesus.
So all my little nest egg was gone. And here I was starting Bridge the Gap on a, like, no cushion. God was like, nope, it's straight faith walk. So, and from that point, it's been 12 years now. We're in schools throughout the U.S. We're in schools in Nassau, Bahamas. We're in schools in Africa. We've stopped gang wars, suicide, received a Lifetime Achievement Award from President Obama. People from all different walks of life God brought to the movement, from Megan Good, the actress, actually teaches the course with me via video. People that I would have never thought I would have met and wouldn't have met if I just stayed in the box of just being the music guy and take my gifts and use them to how God would want them. Carrie Schwab Pomerantz, which is the daughter to Charles Schwab, she's on my board. People like Dr. Ben Carson, way before he got into politics, heard about me and said, I want to support that. But it was all these people that God brought in the fold, and Bridge the Gap has been moving strong ever since.
Yeah, that's like you said, you had to take that leap of faith. And it is amazing when you think you at your best place, God will say, let's just stop right now.
Mm-hmm.
And let's do something different. But what you said is your father passed away and a new you was born.
Mm-hmm.
And that is what a lot of people miss. A lot of people get stuck at the place that they lost. You didn't wallow in it. You didn't pity in it. So from those ashes, you became another phoenix. You said, hey, there is something else that I need to do. I got a fire in me to do something else. And first off, what you did from there, you went back home.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you went back home to find out that you had connections already where you were. Isn't it amazing? So that's another thing for people. When somebody dies in your life, you did not die with them.
Right.
It's a new assignment on your life. You become a new vessel. New things are supposed to come through you. And that is what you did with that. And then you were able to still go back to those same people who talked about you,
mm-hmm.
who now want to give you honor because now you got something they want to be connected to.
Right.
It's amazing how that works out. But it wasn't the connection to you that you needed to go back. You needed to go back to be connected to the other people in the room. And that's what we must understand. It's not the place we go, but we need to be connected to the other people in the room. So God blessed you there. And the journey was, the real faith was, God took all the blanket from up under you and he recreated it and connected you to a new place. Like you said, you had to get out of that box of the producer and become all that God had for you. So like you said, you are a producer, you are a philanthropist, you are an entrepreneur. So you could take on all of those things and not be just limited in the title of the world. So God said, I'm going to make you greater. And that's what he did, because you were obedient to what he said. Because even though you got rid of the cars and the penthouse, God said, I'm still going to provide because of your obedience that you did for me. And so that's what is marvelous in that place of obedience. And you were talking about these 12 years and bridging the gap. I just like all these dates because, I'm big on numbers. So then we hop a decade later, we hop into 2018.
Mm-hmm.
So that means there's another new beginning for you. Something that you said, hey, I got to still do something different. So in 2018, what was shifting you to this next new?
In 2018, that was actually a very profound year for me, because 2017 was a year where I had to shift some things, and there were people in my life and things that were holding me down, and it was like God saying, hey, it's time to evolve, and some of the people that's with you won't be able to go where you're going if they're not evolving as well. So I think 2017 was a very tough year for me, and then going into 2018, it just was a shift. I did receive my doctorates in philosophy, but then also it was so many other things that happened. God brought me back into music, because I always said to myself, whenever I do come back, it's got to be huge. It's got to be bigger than, before. And, not only did he do that, but he a donor with Bridge the Gap got involved and was like, hey, I want to he donated like $250,000 to the nonprofit. And he was a huge fan of this rock group called Bad Brains, which I had no idea who they were, but they were a black group that started punk rock music. And I didn't know that black people, there was a black band punk rock. So it got my attention. Like, I want to learn more about them. And I saw their story was, very profound, and how they were, the powers that be wanted to keep that the best kept secret, because punk rock's not typically, you don't think of black music when you think of punk rock. So they were suppressed in a lot of ways, and they didn't get their just due. And the group, I met them, and they were like, hey, we want to keep our legacy going. So I took their whole catalog and began to create songs in a hip hop format, using their punk rock music. And then from there, that same donor came and said, well, let's do an album, and invested millions of dollars and said, let's go. So I was able to call all my friends musically and say, hey, I'm back. And I put together a masterpiece, the biggest album in hip hop, over 60 artists infused in 15 songs. And each artist on that album, I made sure it was mandatory that they gave me a video drop talking to the kids about Bridge the Gap and giving advice that, could be great. Because some of these artists, because of their circumstances and the position they're in the label, they're kind of binded to think that they have to be the hardest guy or the most gangster. And it's like, you know what, if me getting you on this album and this one time will be one time that you said something positive that these kids can grab onto, then I'll take it. You know what I mean? But the Bible says to be shrewd. So it was also a way to also get back on the platform and allow all of these big artists to let people know, okay, for the people who, when Khao was saving kids and doing Bridge the Gap, this is who he is, though. And then it allows me to be able to, help them and continue to bridge the gap. So that was, that part. Also, there was so many things that happened in 2018. Let's see. It was 2018 was really big, in so many areas. We dropped, of course, I had Kool-Aid. So there's a lot of companies that emerged. Koolriculum was taking off even more. We got our official data back showing that we took the third lowest school in the country. In the state of Georgia, the third lowest school right there on Bankhead, and with using Bridge the Gap and Koolriculum. Out of 3 years, we got our data back, and we took that school to the third highest school in the state, under 2 prep schools. And so, I didn't get a chance to really speak on Bridge the Gap. Koolriculum, Courtney, but, Koolriculum came about after the success of Bridge the Gap, and people started saying, well, what do you have to help with test scores? So I took more time out over 5 years, and I actually produced over 600 songs aligned to the national standards from kindergarten to 12th grade. So in the entire 12 years of education, I put all in music form and music videos, from math, science, social studies, and English, and that's being used as well. And so we've had a lot of just a lot of great things that happen, that's been happening since 2018 and moving forward.
I do like that, because what you did was therapeutic for other people. Even though you brought people together to help for your project, it was a therapy for them to be able to speak to something that happened in their youth, to speak to other kids. And a lot of times that's the only opportunity, like you said, that was the only opportunity they might have given that bit of information, that voice. So you gave people a voice, an inner voice that they wouldn't have probably used any other place but your platform. Plus, it allowed them to see you in a different light, in a different perspective, so that people could support you in that place. One of the things I want people to understand who are on a journey, you don't do it by yourself. Every time he said somebody else came in, he created a project, he wrote things. But the thing is, he has a foundation in place for people to be a part of. A lot of times we like people to be a part of something, and we haven't even put something together yet. So right. we got to at least have a plan in place, people. Let's get a plan in place. And when we put a plan in place, then people can see where it is that we want them to go with us. And I'm not saying it needs to be a finished product. I'm just saying we need to have a plan in place so people can see where we're going. And one thing is education is definitely something that we have to invest in the next generation and the next generation. And if your gifts are not preparing and leaving a legacy for the next generation and the next generation, and when everybody reads that scripture in the Bible, they only think about their own seed. They don't think about the generations of the world, of the nations. And that is what you have thought about when you're talking about making significance, making a name for the Lord, because you're talking about all over the world. And the thing is, you didn't name them after you. You named them something that will be significant forever. Bridge the gap, cool curriculum, things that people would gravitate toward, things that God gave you to your heart. And I think that is where sometimes we get so carried away, stamping our name on everything instead of saying, okay, this is the word that God gave me and let me roll with that. We take the name God give us and we try to put our name on it still. So let it just go with what God said and be obedient to that. And through that, it has still made you significant in every room, in every arena that God puts you in. Because like you said, it was 360. He brought you back to music. He brought you back to music in a different, in an elevated way that now you can actually see God in a different way. And then they can see you in a different way. So it allows you to evolve in that industry in a totally different way. So that urge that you are out there in this world serving now is blessing people. So I'm honored for you to have given us time to talk about this blessing in this journey and here connected with us. Because I have to tell you, you all that watch me, my husband is always blessing me because he meets more people than I ever meet in this world. So I thank you for the connection from him to you and me, so that we are here today sharing this. And I hope everybody here that is on the line, they share with every board of education that they are connected with, so that this curriculum and this bridge the gap gets out to these educations. So that means if you're watching, it is up to you to tag some people who you know are teachers, tag some people that you know are on board of educations, because this, like he said, it took the lowest, and I know where the school is on Bankhead because I'm Georgia bred and born, a real live Georgia peach, so I know exactly the place that you're talking about. Yeah. And so when we talk about a turnaround of that significance, music is powerful. That gift gives people a different level of learning. And as I said before, for this month, music is medicine. Music is a medicine that some people need just to get them past some of the hurt that is going on in their home life, to be able to open up a different avenue to learn. So you all be a blessing. And I am going to definitely put up your tag so they can go to your IGs to see where Bridge the Gap is. Also located in this message as we're talking, you all go down in the details in the description, whether you're watching us on YouTube, whether you're watching us on Facebook, whether you're watching us on the website, wherever you're watching at, or you're watching in the replay, make sure you go into the details and click on the link of either Bridge the Gap or click on the link of the Cool Curriculum. Go support this endeavor. A lot of people don't support people because what you say is, oh, well, they're already making money, so their profit should be put into this. No one person can keep a organization going by themselves. It continuously needs support. It continuously needs people to keep it growing. And you all know, if we don't nurture something and we don't grow something, it will die. And that is something that I truly believe in our youth, in our education. So you all jump out there and figure out how you can be a part of it. If you don't know how to sing, if you don't know how to rap, if you can't enter it in that way, your finances and your time of talking about this is very important.
Absolutely.
So I've noticed one of your things that you post on Instagram, what you got in the lab cooking. So we want to know what's going on in your musical lab, what you got cooking up, so that we can be your taste testers. We can go out there and grab us a plate of some of this musical delight that you're putting out. So let us be a part of this journey.
Absolutely. Thank you for asking that. Like, so I dropped an album yesterday. It's called Christmas Lit. It's a Christmas album, but it's such an awesome album. I mean, for the parents, it's all clean. But one thing I wanted to do was just 2020 was such a tough year for everybody. And the fact that we're coming around to the holiday season and a lot of people aren't going to be able to spend it personally with their loved ones, I wanted to create some music because music just, that gives us a vibe, a feel good vibe. So we could still, to let the music energize us and make this Christmas be as the best that it can be, with us not being able to spend that time with loved ones. And, I noticed when it came to a lot of the Christmas music there's always a lot of remakes every year, but it's like the same artist remaking the same songs. And then I'm like, there are a lot of sad Christmas songs. And I'm like, yo, the last thing we need is some sad Christmas songs right now. So I decided to create an album, and when I tell you it's amazing, I mean the album it's fun. It's that album when you hanging the tree up or you just want to have a good time, just put it on and you're gonna party and just enjoy it, enjoy your loved ones. So that's one thing we're doing.
Tell us
Also,
how to get the album.
the album is Christmas Lit. Right? So if you whatever platform you're on, especially if you have your Apple Music or whatever, you could just go on and type in Khao, Khao, and then click on my albums, and you'll see the Christmas Lit album. There's also an app that I partner with a major app company, and they have an app called Mimic, and it's really cool. It's augmented reality to where it's MEMIK, but it's augmented reality, so you literally can make an avatar of a cartoon kind of character pop up in your living room or wherever you aim your phone. And then they have the songs from the Christmas album, and you can go stand next to that avatar and dance off against the avatar, and then send it to your other family members. And so it's a cool thing to where, just to interact and have fun during the holidays. So that's one thing that the app drops on the 21st, but the album is out now. And it'll be on all platforms on Tuesday. So if you have Amazon or something, because we did a rush release, it will definitely be out on all platforms Tuesday. So that's that. Also, we have of course BH365, which I'm extremely excited about. I'm a part. There's a textbook that's been written called Black History 365. It gives the real history of just our Black history, starting from ancient Africa all the way to modern time. And I came on board and literally produced music for each chapter. So, I'm excited. Oprah got her book the other day, and I've been hearing these things of everyone saying with my music, it's bigger than Hamilton. And I'm like, this is such a blessing, But to be able to show our Black history through music, and you can just ride to an album and just get some, get that is just amazing in itself. So I'm really proud of that as well.
I want to say something that spoke throughout this whole show is getting with other people, partnership and collaboration. If we don't learn anything in this season, even with social distancing, we should not be mentally distancing ourselves from each other or spiritually distancing ourselves from others. We should be still growing in this space to where we can partnership and collective, because everything that I heard you, I partnered with this person, I collaborated with this person. And that is the thing in this season we're going to have to learn. If it has not taught us, might not be touching each other in that way. Like you say, we're creating new avatars, we're creating new spaces to have that fun and enjoyment in. And so that is something we really need to jump on and be able to take advantage of. Like you say, many of you here on this platform, and we sitting here sharing it and spread it out on multiple platforms. We have to take advantage of systems and things that are in place for us to use our gifts in a different way. People use our gifts in a different way. And that is where we're going to actually be a blessing to us, because a lot of people during this pandemic has just shut down how they were doing business, and they weren't able to pivot because they said, I'm not willing to learn technology. I'm willing not to invest in the next level. I don't want to partner with somebody who's offering that. I'll just wait till everything goes back to normal. And I'm going to tell y'all, this is the truth. Normal is not coming back. So just embrace that. So I just let y'all know normal is not coming back. So if you need to catch the wave now and get to the point where we are going to change, we're going to grow, we're going to evolve, that is a necessity. So through your journey, I am just listening to it, besides reading it, everybody should see there was a path of growth. in a place where God had to say, let me put you on another road. And that's for all of us, whether we want to call it a Damascus experience where God said, hey, what you're doing is good, but it's not what I called you to do. So let me help you see the light. And that is what he does for every last one of us. It's not saying that producing music was bad, it just was not enough. And everything that God says is he just telling us it's not enough. I want more from you. And so he gave you that assignment, you did the more, and he still kept you in a place where you were loving the music while you were doing it. And I think that's the fear most of us have. We're going to have to give up what we love in order to do what God said. No, he want to take what you love and make it even a greater love. So if y'all are willing to accept a greater love, that means you're going to dig within yourself, get outside of your own way to find that greater love. So I thank you for joining us here today and blessing us with your journey. So I'm going to tell you this, y'all, please don't go back and DM him and box him. Do not ask for money, because I'm going to tell y'all that is not the way that you go about connecting with people. The way, as he said, how can I help you? Do not come to somebody unless your first conversation is, how can I serve you? How can I help you? How can we collaborate? How can we partner? If it is not those phrases, do not make the connection. And I'm going to say that because everybody wants somebody to put in their pocket. I have so many inboxes of people who want me to donate to this or give to this or do this because they assume that we have lots and lots of money to give to people. Asking me how we can collaborate in another day. There are so many other things that you probably could benefit from that are inside of my little box that I could give you. So I'm saying that because a lot of people here, you've worked with this person, or you've done this, and the first thing they want to like, oh, well, can you hook me up with nothing? So I'm gonna tell y'all for him. No, this is not a hookup video. This is not a hookup interview. Do not call me and ask me for his name, his email, his number. I'm just putting this out right now because these are the things that always go behind the scene when I have an interview and people go click on somebody else's link in bio or they heard something. Okay, if you're not coming here to serve, help, collaborate, or partnership, that is what this message is about. So you can grow through your stretching and your growth and through your work and through your effort. That is what we are talking about today. Taking your gift, being able to use it to serve, using it, being able to grow now. So I got that little off the soapbox because I don't want your box to be blowing up with nonsense. And I just had to put that out there because I know how we are in this social media world. People click on people's link and say, hey, or they heard connections. So the only connection you get today is the connection to the Holy Spirit to be obedient for your own individual self and for you to take a moment and say, how can I serve in that same way? How can God create success within my life so I can be significant? So now, Dr. Cates, tell us, how can we serve you? How can we help you? How can we partner and collect with you to help move you to another significant level in your endeavors?
Man, that question just feels good to hear. You'll be surprised how much when you're out here serving that it's very rare you hear people ask that question. So that just means a lot just to hear it. I think the biggest thing now is, God, had me go and put together something that's a tool that all of us need. And it's here for everyone. Bridge the Gap is not like you said, it's not a KO Bridge the Gap. It's whoever's trying to make a difference and see these youth and see the direction they're heading, but don't quite know how to make that connection with them. It's the gateway to open the conversation amongst our household, amongst other kids, So my thing is, it's about spreading the word. It's about, because you'll be surprised, especially now during the pandemic, there's so many schools for the first time where they don't know what to do. And there's so many doors I walked in with a solution and they turned their nose up to it because it didn't fit in their box. But now their box is imploded. So they're like, so it's an opportunity for all of us to be vessels to say, hey, there's a real solution here. I want you to check this out, and really start getting the work out to our youth. Because right now it's like, I've been so busy in the trenches creating and doing what God wanted me to do, I didn't have time for this past decade. I wasn't doing it for photo ops and hey, look at me, look what I'm doing. So now that it's done, it's like, okay, we have to get it out there, you know. So that's one of the biggest things, being able to spread the word about Bridge the Gap, about Koolriculum, about Kool-AR, you know, and just being able, you know, just to say that these great things exist. Like, I'm trying to find the Kool-AR app now because I thought this would be cool to show people, but it'd be really cool to know, like, wow, you got young black men creating things that's cutting edge. Hold on, I'm looking for it on my phone. I'm gonna show you guys really quick. Okay, so so Kool-AR is the app, right? I don't know if you guys can see that. Okay, here we go.
Yeah, it's a little blur.
A little blurry. Okay, let's see. So that's Kool-AR. But I'm gonna show you something. Let's go phonics. So I can do phonics accounting, and I'm going to take this particular book right here, and with this book, this is one of the books, the accounting and phonics book, right? And what I want to actually do is when you aim the phone at the book comes to life, and our little characters show up, and they start teaching the kids, you know, counting and phonics, and they get to dance along with the characters and stuff. But what it does is it activates the camera, right? But when they see this book, it pops up, and then if you look closely, all the little characters are there.
Yes, yes. And the thing is, our kids, I can speak as a grandma, my granddaughter, she loves music and she learns through those things. So we might as well have them learning something positive, something that is growing them and developing them. So I know my husband said he gonna see you today, so that means he gonna see you to be picking up some books for our granddaughter.
Got you covered, you know it.
Yeah, so he gonna be seeing you to pick up some books for our granddaughter. Because the thing is, it is not just up to the school system to educate our kids. So if you don't feel like it's something your school system is going to take in, and I'm gonna speak to the grandparents out there who now are putting in a lot of work with their grandkids, because we're out there supporting our kids to help them find their careers and their next too. Use that time instead of just playing with them and spoiling them and send them home, like we like to say, spoil them and send them home. Why don't we spoil them educational wise and help them grow so they go home to a next level and still having fun and enjoyment doing that?
Absolutely.
So that is what I'm leaving you all with. And as my final thing, I always like to tell you all, my today is going to be better than yesterday. So now you can make the next generation's day better than yesterday. So let's get to investing in our next generation. The information is listed, how you can support, how you can serve. If you don't have grandkids, send these books to somebody else. Send them to your nieces, to your aunts, somebody who has kids, especially these people who have kids at home right now who need something for them to do outside of just the regular curriculum they're experiencing, that will give them something to be interactive with their brothers and their sisters. So it is that time. I'm telling y'all, gift some cool curriculum to some people, because it will not just be something you give them to play with and unwrap and throw around. It'll be something that they can evolve within way past a day. So I know me and you're gonna be talking, because I got lots of nieces and nephews
right
in this world. So friends with kids, neighbors with kids that always come over. So they always trying to get me to think of something to play with them. And I'd be like, whoo, Jesus, I don't know look at kids games no more. I know what they're interested in. But that is going to be, when they come, we playing some cool curriculum. We're going to put up the phone, throw it on the TV, and we're going to dance with the little characters. And that is what we're going to do.
All right.
What is it that you would like to leave us with, as far as, besides being significant, more than successful, it all blends together? What is it that you want us to know about you to help somebody else become better?
You know, I think one of the biggest things with me is just that the importance of just being obedient and actually being able to when things get complicated in life, just always remember that life is as complicated as we make it. And if it's from God, it's very simple. We can only operate out of two ways, either out of fear or love. That's it. And all the stuff that comes in it that makes it complicated, out of fear comes all of the vices that trigger that people do. But then your love is your patience, your, all the other great things to where things flow. So as long as we know that, and if it's too complicated, then it's not of God, and just really going back to the basics on that end. It's been one thing that's worked really, really powerful on my end, and also definitely eliminating the bots and realizing that, once learning blind faith, meaning, don't get me wrong, I don't hop, someone hop up and say, I'm gonna be the biggest hot dog stand in the middle of nowhere. Then, I mean, you got to consult with God what your plan is. But at the same time, once you consult and, he gives you that confirmation, then you can have the blind faith on it. And when I say that, I mean in the level of, like, when we go to sleep at night, we don't try to stay up out of fear we might not wake up. We know God's going to look out for us. And if, or when we get up out the bed, we know we're going to be able to walk and do what we want to do. That's the kind of blind faith we have to exercise in our everyday life when we do have those doubts and things. So that's something that, I would leave behind. And the last thing would be just realize that we are today. Because I've been in the fight for a long time, and I watched so many great people with resources sit on the sideline and watch the news and say they got to do something about this, but not realizing that the government's not going to do it. None of the high uppers, they're not even in our communities. Like, it's up to us. If we don't do it, it won't get done. We are today, so that would be, the things I would really like to, just leave behind.
Yes, indeed. Be the change you want to see. So I am blessed. Thank you for joining me here on another Master Relationship Mechanics show. For you all, I wish you all, I pray for you all for your day to be better today than yesterday. Make a decision. Be intentional about that. So it's change your mindset, set, and shift your perspective. So you all make sure you all go out and support and serve Dr. Cates. Support and serve Dr. Cates. You all, and that is how you will become connected, support and serve the guests that have come on here. So I am thankful for joining us. I'm thankful for you all tuning in. Definitely, if you have any more comments, issues that you all want to talk about, put them here. I will reach Dr. Cates. He will respond to what it is that you put in its place. And I thank you all for joining us for another Master Relationship Mechanics show. Yes, and we will be here next Saturday. The holidays are not canceled. And remember, if you all have not seen, we have a special holiday healings webinar. Me and my hubby are jumping on at 8 p.m. on Thanksgiving Day because the holidays are not canceled. So we're going to talk about healing through the holidays, all the grief and the loss that we have experienced here in 2020. We're going to talk about how to heal over some turkey and some dressing. So we're going to be serving some tough love that evening. So y'all join in and get a little bit of love from us. So we thank you, Dr. Cates. We thank you all, and we will see you all next Saturday. Same time, same place, growing and getting better, just as we expect of you.
Amen. Thank you.